Alright students, let's go ahead and now revise the next chapter. The next chapter is place of supply. Everyone, let's take a quick linking. We started learning GST with goods or service. Goods or service has to be supplied. Supply can be interstate or intrastate. Interstate supply, section number 7 of the IGST Act. Intrastate, section number 8. Section number 9 told about territorial waters of India. Now you have section number 10, 11, 12, 13 of the IGST Act, which goes ahead and basically talks about place of supply. Section number 10 and 11 talks about place of supply with respect to goods. Place of supply with respect to service is told by section number 12 and 13. Always remember one thing, you always have to go ahead and see location of supplier and place of supply. If they are within the same state or same union territory, then it is always intrastate, different state, different UT, one state, one UT, it is always interstate supply, right everyone? So let's go ahead and now learn how to calculate place of supply. Place of supply, section number 10, section number 11. Section number 10 has section number 10, 1A, B, C, D, E, and section number 10, 2. Section number 10, 2 goes ahead and talks about place of supply of goods where place of supply cannot be determined. It will be determined in the manner to be prescribed, nothing prescribed. So we'll learn section number 10, 1A, which goes ahead and says whenever supply involves movement, movement can be by supplier, movement can be by recipient, or movement can be by any other person. Whenever there is a movement, wherever the movement terminates for delivery of the goods to the recipient, that will be the place of supply. Section number 10, 1B goes ahead and talks about bill to ship to model. Always remember one thing, in case of bill to ship to model, the principal place of business of the third party is the place of supply. Section number 10, 1C goes ahead and talks about whenever there is no movement, whenever there is no movement, then it is always the location of the goods at the time of delivery. At the time of delivery, whatever is the location of the goods, that is the place of supply. In case goods are assembled or installed at site, always remember section number 10, 1D goes ahead and says the place of supply will be place of installation or assembly. Section number 10, 1E goes ahead and talks whenever goods are supplied on board, might be an aircraft, might be a bus, anything on board a conveyance, it will always be place of supply will be where they are taken on board. Section number 10, 1 done. 10, 1 told about movement, where the movement terminates. 10, 1B went ahead and told about bill to ship to principal place of business of third party. 10, 1C supply movement is not there, location of the goods at the time of delivery. The installation or assembly, place of installation or assembly. 10, 1E went ahead and told about services supplied on board, where the goods are taken on board, right everyone? Then we have section number 11. Section number 11, 1. Section number 11A, goods imported is place of importer becomes the place of supply, and in case of export, it is the location outside India, which is the place of supply. Then we have section number 12, which goes ahead and talks about place of supply in case of services. Now, section number 12 is only applicable. Section number 12, 1 goes ahead and says section number 12 is applicable whenever location of supplier and location of recipient both are in India. Section number 12, 2, which is basically the general rule or the residual rule, which goes ahead and says whenever you are not falling in any specific rule in between section number 12, 3 to 12, 14. 12.3 to 12.14, then section number 12.2 is applicable, which is the general rule, which goes ahead and says registered person ko if you are supplying, it is the location of the registered person. If you are supplying to unregistered person, then address on record you don't have, then please take location of supplier. Then we have section number 12.3, which goes ahead and talks about services in relation to immovable property. Then sir, it is indirectly in relation to immovable property or lodging accommodation service, or it is function at an immovable property, or any service which is ancillary to all these three. Then always remember one thing, it will always be location or intended location of the property, boat or vessel. Immovable property, if it is located or intended to be located outside India, always remember, because both are in India, supplier and recipient, location of recipient becomes the place of supply. Always remember one thing, if you have gone ahead and provided a service with respect to an immovable property, and immovable property is located in multiple states, then the place of supply will be in multiple states. Supply of service shall be treated to be made in every state or UT in the proportion of value of service collected separately. If you have collected separately, value of supply will be separately with respect to every state. If you have not collected separately, then it will be determined in terms of contract. Otherwise, please apply rule number 4. Rule number 4 goes ahead and says the value of supply. See, place of supply is in multiple states, so value has to be apportioned. How will you go ahead and do the apportionment? On the basis of A and D. A for area, N for on the basis of number of nights, and D for declaration by the service provider. You remember rule number 4 talks about A and D, area, nights, and declaration by the service provider. Then we have section number 12.4 which goes ahead and talks about performance based service. Baba, performance based service, all performance based service is not covered by section number 12.4. Only RCAB failed pathetically is covered. R means restaurant and catering services, C for cosmetic and plastic surgery, B for beauty treatment, F for fitness service, P for personal grooming, and H for health services. RCAB failed pathetically का केस में place of supply is always the place of performance. Remember, poop, place of performance. Then always it is section number 12.5. Baba, RCB failed pathetically. I love RCB. Okay, it is only for classroom purpose. Then section number 12.5 goes ahead and talks about training and performance appraisal. Training and performance appraisal का case में if it is provided to training and performance appraisal service provided to registered person, location of registered person, otherwise place of performance. Section number 12.6 goes ahead and talks about services in relation to admission to an event or park and any ancillary services. Always the place of the event or the park becomes the place of supply. Section number 12.7 goes ahead and talks about organizing of event and any ancillary services with respect to that organizing of event. Always if it is provided to registered person, location of registered person. If it is provided to unregistered person, place of event. Sir, if any service is provided to a registered person, whether in India, organizing of event outside India, always location of registered person. Provided to unregistered person, then it is the place of event. If you have gone ahead and provided the service to an unregistered person and the event is outside India, then also it is always the location of recipient. Sir, if the event is being organized for an unregistered person and the event is happening in multiple states, you enter and organize the marriage of a person in multiple states, place of supply in multiple states, value apportionment, if you have collected separately, then separate value. If you have not collected separately, then as per the contract. If contract is not telling anything, please apply gap. But remember one thing, always remember organizing of event and ancillary services for registered person, it is always location of registered person, unregistered person, place of event outside India, location of recipient, otherwise apply gap. Generally accepted accounting principle. Goods transportation of goods including mail and courier का case में always registered person, location of registered person, unregistered person, wherever it is handed over, pickup location becomes the place of supply. Now transportation of goods may one case is there over here. Proviso goes ahead and says if the transportation is happening outside India, transportation of goods is happening outside India, the place of supply is in India, recipient also is in India, transportation is outside India. Here it's a exception kind of a thing where they have gone ahead and told place of supply is the destination of the goods. Then we have passenger transportation. Always remember location of registered person, place of supply. Sir, if it is unregistered person, then place of embarkation, wherever the unregistered person jumps in for a continuous journey. What do you mean by continuous journey? A continuous journey means where there is no stopover. There should not be any stopover. Then right to passage. What do you mean by right to passage? Metro cards are basically all these are right to passage where you can get in any station say and get out from any station. These are basically right to passage, and right to passage may always general rule is applicable, which is location of recipient of service. If that is not there, location of supplier of. Sir, what is general rule? Location of registered person. If that is not there, address on record, that is not there, location of supplier. Right, everyone? Always remember if you are going somewhere and coming from somewhere, return journey, going and coming, both are separate journey, separate place of supply. Then we have section number 12.10 which goes ahead and talks about on-board services. Always remember one thing, in case of on-board services which are provided in a conveyance, it is always the first scheduled departure point of the conveyance. Section number 12.11 goes ahead and talks about telecommunication service. If services are provided by fixed line, circuit, dish, etc., the location of the fixed line, circuit, dish, etc. will become the place of supply. If it is provided through postpaid mobile ke through, all these telecommunication services are provided, billing address is the place of supply. If prepaid mobile or internet services are basically provided, in that case, if it is provided through reseller or agent, company goes ahead and supplies it to the reseller goes ahead and supplies it further, company supplying it to the reseller, that case mein place of supply is the reseller ka or the agent ka address. Company going ahead and selling it to the final consumer, or reseller is selling it to the final consumer. In that scenario, the place of supply is what? Where the prepayment is received or the voucher is sold. In if prepaid services are provided through internet, then it is always address on record. Sir, any other service which is there, always take address on record. Address on record is not there, then please take location of supplier. Now, if supposingly, sir, circuit ka connection is provided in between two location, sir, how will the value apportionment be done? They went ahead and told place of supply will be in both the state in the proportion to the value which is collected separately, or in terms of contract, or you have to apply rule number 6, which goes ahead and talks about in proportion to the number of points lying in state or UT. Supposingly BSNL has gone ahead and given a connection for a circuit which is installed in two states, Karnataka and Delhi. Then sir, 2 points are there. 2 point mean 1:1 का ratio में value shall be apportioned. Sir, if supposingly Karnataka में 2 point is there, Delhi में 1 point is there, then 2:1 का ratio में it has to be apportioned. Can we go ahead, everyone? The next one is section number 12, which goes and talks about financial and stock broking service. Always address on record has to be taken. Address on record is not there, then financial and stock broking service में always it is location of supplier of service. Insurance service का case में always location of recipient. If it is provided to registered person, location of the registered person, basically the recipient. If it is provided to unregistered person, address on record. The next one over here is section number 12.14, which goes ahead and talks about advertisement service. If advertisement services are provided to central government, state government, basic or any local authority or statutory body which is meant for the state or union territory, place of supply will be in every state in the and the value shall be apportioned in the proportion to amount attributable to service provided in respect of state or UT in terms of contract, or you have to apply rule number 3. So basically, when they are going in and when you are providing advertisement service to the government, they are going in and telling, sir, well, how to apportion the value. If you have collected separate amount, then separate state ka separate amount is there. Are we clear, everyone? Next, everyone over here, if you have gone ahead and provided advertisement service to the government, they are going ahead and telling, please apply rule number 3. If you can't go ahead and distribute the amount, then they have gone ahead and told, please apply rule number 3. And rule number 3 goes ahead and tells about the manner of determination of value attributable to different state or UT in absence of agreement. So sir, if newspaper and publication mein advertisement is done, so supposingly I am a newspaper agency, I have gone ahead and done the advertisement for the government, then whatever is the amount payable by the government is the value of supply of service by me. Amount payable, right, everyone? So if government have gone ahead and paid me 1 lakh rupees for Delhi and 1 lakh rupees for Mumbai, so sir, value of supply of service by me to the government is 1 lakh rupees with respect to Delhi and 1 lakh with respect to Mumbai, and separate invoices will be issued by me. Sir, if service advertisement is provided by me in printed material like pamphlet, t-shirt, etc., whatever is the amount payable by the government is the value of supply. Sir, hoardings may, if I am going ahead and providing the service, basically I am doing advertisement for the government in hoardings, other than those hoardings which are placed in train, whatever is the amount payable by the government will become the value of supply. If government went ahead and told me, Ramesh, you have to do the advertisement for me in train, then I will have to go ahead and see whatever is the amount I have gone ahead and charged, basically whatever the amount payable by the government, I will have to go ahead and bifurcate in the ratio of the railway track which is there. Length of the railway track in each state. So ratio of the length of the railway track multiplied by the amount payable. Utility bill may, if I am doing advertisement for the government, then sir, amount payable, whatever is the amount payable by the government, that is the value of supply by me to the government. Sir, railway ticket ka case mein, you will have to go ahead and see whatever is the amount payable by the government, you have to bifurcate in the ratio of the number of railway stations in each state, basically where you have gone ahead and provided the service to the government. If government is going ahead and telling you to do the advertisement on radio station, then sir, whatever is the amount payable. Sir, if television channel may, then you will have to go ahead and take the viewership figure which are given by the Broadcast Audience Research Council, BARC, Broadcast Audience Research Council. Last quarter ka figure, last quarter mein last week ka figure has to be taken for the current quarter. If you are going ahead and doing, then sir, last quarter ka last week figures has to be taken. Sir, if the figures have been given for more than one state, then you will have to apply the ratio of the population of state or union territory. Sir, if government have given me the money for doing the advertisement in cinema hall, whatever is the amount payable, that will become the value of supply by me to the government. If government have told me to do the services, basically advertisement over the internet, always remember internet may, if you are going ahead and doing advertisement, it is deemed to be supplied across India, and the value apportionment, how it will be done on the basis of internet subscriber, which is given by the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, TRAI. Done, everyone? Sir, if government have gone ahead and told me to do advertisement or SMS, I have gone ahead and told, okay sir, we'll do it. Advertisement over the SMS, if I am going ahead and doing the whatever is the amount paid. No, not on the basis of amount paid. Basically, it is basically you'll have to go ahead and do the apportionment on the basis of telecom subscribers which is there, and telecom subscribers which are given by the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India for the last quarter has to be taken. I hope everyone is clear till here. Then we have section number 13, section number 10 done, supply of goods के लिए, section number 11 supply of goods के लिए, section number 12 was when location of supplier and location of recipient both are in India. Section number 13 is applicable when location of supplier or location of recipient anyone is outside India. Section number 13 one says whenever anyone is outside India, then section number 13 is applicable. Section number 13.2 is the general rule or the residual rule which goes ahead and says whenever you are not falling in any specific rule, which is section number 13.3 to 13.13, then general rule is applicable which says location of recipient of service. If that is not there, location of supplier of service. The next one over here is section number 13.3 which goes ahead and talks about performance based service. Section number 13.3a goes ahead and says whenever it is supplied in respect of goods which are made physically available, the place of supply will be the place of actual performance. Proviso in section number 13.3a goes ahead and says that sir, when goods are not physically made available and the service is provided remotely, then the location of the goods, when such service is provided remotely where the goods are located, that will be the place of supply. Sir, if the goods have temporarily come into India, might be for treatment, repair, process and re-exported without being put to use in India, unless that put to use in India is mandatory for such process, that is okay. But if you are put to use in India, then it will be over here place of actual performance, but you should not put to use in India and re-export it. In that scenario, general rule, location of recipient of service. Always remember, if goods have temporarily come into India, you have repaired them, treated them or process has been done and re-exported without being put to use in India. Might be if it was put to use in India, it was put to use only to check whether the treatment or process is done properly or not. Otherwise, if it was put to use in India, then you will have to take place of actual performance. Otherwise, it is always general rule, location of recipient of service. Here, there is one circular also regarding diamond, etc. They have gone ahead and told whenever services are provided for unpolished diamond which have come from outside India, you have done cutting, polishing, etc. and you have resent it outside India. In that scenario, always the place of supply will be location of recipient of service. I hope everyone is clear. The next one over here is section number 13.3b which goes ahead and says whenever services are performed on an individual which requires his physical presence, it is always place of actual performance which becomes place of supply. Whether it is goods or whether it is individual, always place of actual performance is the place of supply. But if goods ka case mein remotely something is done, then where the goods were at the time of supply of service will be the place of supply. Temporarily goods have come into India for treatment, process or repair, then in that scenario it is always general rule, location of recipient of service. Then we have section number 13.4 which goes and says, sir, location services in relation to immovable property, directly in relation or might be services by expert or real estate agent, basically estate agents which are there, accommodation service in hotel, in guest house, etc. or might be it is grant of right to use immovable property, architect, interior decorator ka service, always location or intended location of the immovable property. Sir, then section number 13.5 goes ahead and talks about admission to an event or organizing of event or any ancillary service to organizing or admission to an event. Always it is place where the event is held. Then section number 13.6 goes ahead and says whenever performance based service or immovable property related service or admission or organizing of event related service is provided by a person in multiple location and a single amount supposingly is being collected, and so supposingly there is a single contract which is there for performance based service or might be immovable property related service or admission to an event or organizing event or admission to an event or organizing of event related service, and the event or etc. is in multiple location and one location comes to India, then the entire amount becomes taxable in India. The next one over here is section number 13.7, which goes ahead and says services in 3, 4, 5, basically performance based service, immovable property related service, and organizing of event or admission related services. If they are supplied in multiple states in India, then they are telling place of supply in each of the respective state, and the value shall be in proportion to the value collected separately. If you have not gone ahead and collected separately as per the contract, or you have to go ahead and apply rule. Now, if it's a performance based service, which is a performance with respect to goods, supposingly one goods have come into India and you have done performance with respect to the goods, then performance based services, when they are done in multiple states, you have to go ahead and apply rule number 7. Rule number 7 goes ahead and says if it is done with respect to the same goods, divide equally the value between the two states. If it is done with respect to different goods, then go ahead and divide the value in the ratio of the invoice value of the goods. Sir, if it is performance based service with respect to an individual you have provided in multiple states, then apply gap. Right, everyone? The next one over here is, sir, if immovable property related service in India might be have gone ahead and provided for multiple states, then the value apportionment will be done as per rule number 8. Rule number 8 goes ahead and says how it was told in rule number 4 only you have to do it. So basically A and D, area, nights, and declaration by the service provider, that same ratio, that same theory has to be applied over here, and the value apportionment has to be done. Sir, if it's an organizing of event or admission related service and you have to go ahead and do the apportionment, then how will you go ahead and do? You will have to apply rule number 9, and rule number 9 says please apply rule number 5. Rule number 5, which we had already learned for organizing of event, went ahead and told you will have to apply gap. The next one is section number 12.8 goes ahead and says services by banking company, financial institution or NBFC to account holder or intermediate service or hiring of means of transportation including yacht, excluding aircraft or vessel up to what? 1 month. It is always location of supplier of service. Always remember one thing, banking company, financial institution, NBFC. To account holder is location of supplier service. If it is to non-account holder, general rule is location of recipient of service. If location of recipient is not there, then supplier of service. Sir, section number 12.9 goes ahead and talks about transportation of goods excluding mail and courier, because mail and courier ka case mein general rule is applicable. So transportation of goods, always destination of goods will become the place of supply. Here one circular is there with respect to Antrix Corporation or NSIL, New Space India Limited. Whenever they are going ahead and providing satellite launch services to domestic customer, it is always exempted under entry number 19C of your exemption chapter. But if it is provided to international customer, suppliers in India, recipient is outside India, place of supply is outside India, rocket went to ship, rocket went to space is outside India, and hence it will always be an export of service. Zero rating ka benefit can be claimed by the supplier. Always remember satellite launch service, international customer, export of service, zero rated supply, international customer, export of service, domestic customer, it is always exempted. Then we have passenger transportation service, section number 13.10. Baba, I am telling 13 only, right? Yes. Section number 13.10, passenger transportation service, place of embarkation. Wherever the passenger jumps in for a continuous journey, that will always be the place of supply. Always remember, continuous journey is that journey where there is no stop over. Section number 13.11 goes ahead and says services on board is always the first scheduled departure point. Section number 13.12 goes ahead and talks about OIDR service, always location of recipient of service. Section number 13.13 goes ahead and says government has the power that whenever government sees that there is a non-taxation or double taxation for a service, then government is empowered, central government is empowered to notify any service ka case mein place of supply will be place of effective use and enjoyment of that service. And government went ahead and issued one circular with respect to R&D services for pharmaceutical sector. Government went ahead and told whenever pharmaceutical sector mein R&D services are provided, always the place of supply will be the location of recipient of service. If supply of, again one circular is there, supply of maintenance, repair, overall services with respect to aircraft or ship and other vessel, their engines, component, part to any person for use in the course of furtherance of business. Always MRO services with respect to aircraft, ship, etc. ka case mein maintenance, repair, overall services with respect to aircraft, ship, etc. It is always location of recipient of service. Government went ahead and used section number 13.13 ka power, and government told what? For pharmaceutical sector, location of recipient of service. For MRO service with respect to aircraft, ship, etc., also location of recipient of service. Beside this, we have one circular which goes ahead and says cargo handling services. Cargo handling services which are provided by port are always never it is with services with respect to immovable property, and always general rule section number 13.2 or 12.2 will be applicable. 12.2 if it is provided to domestic customer, international customer, then it will always be 13.2. Then one more circular is there. Supposingly one person has gone ahead and developed some software for a company. Might be I have gone ahead and developed a software or designed a software for Apple in US. They went ahead and sent me one mobile phone and told, sir, software you develop and test on the mobile phone also. Here software development is principal, testing on the mobile phone is ancillary, and because the principal supply is falling under general rule which is location of recipient of service, the place of supply for the testing services will also be determined as per general rule, and the entire supply pay, the place of supply will be location of recipient of service. Always remember, whenever you are going ahead and doing software designing services in the taxable territory and you are supplying it to whom? Person in the non-taxable territory, by using his hardware in that you are going ahead and testing becomes ancillary, and principal supply is development and designing of software, where general rule is applicable and location of recipient of service will become the place of supply. Right, everyone? Whenever you are learning section number 13, one point which I find is very important, you should remember importation of service ka definition. Importation of service means supplier is outside India, recipient is in India, and place of supply is in India, then it is always importation of service. And always remember export of service ka definition. Section number 2 clause 6 of the IGST Act goes ahead and defines it. Supplier is in India, location of recipient is outside India, place of supply is outside India, payment is received in foreign convertible currency or in INR wherever permitted by RBI, and you both are not mere establishment of distinct person, only then it is an export of service. I hope we are clear till here. A graded chapter, everyone, 6 marks is something which they go ahead and generally ask in the exam. I will go ahead and conclude my revision on the chapter of place of supply over here. Congratulations, people.